Hari Om. So, welcome back. So, we have been seeing the 9 ways of bring the mind under control, right? Shravana, Kirtana, Smarana, Padasevana, Archana, Vandana, Dasya, and Sakyam. In English, if you want, by revision, recap: hearing, chanting, remembering, serving, worshipping, offering, and again serving. Friendship. So, servant and serving, there are two different things. Padasevanam is serving. Dasyam is das as a servant. That difference should be there. We should have that clear in the mind. No, in Sakyam, we have seen about Krishna Arjuna and Duryodhana Karna and Rama and Vali. There are a number. But utmost thing what brings to mind is, as I said, Radhe Krishna, an exemplary. The next would be Krishna Arjuna. Here, what you are supposed to understand is, in every friendship, one will be Krishna, one will be Arjuna. We should understand. And who is Krishna? Everybody feels, I am Krishna, I am Krishna. Other person is Arjuna. The testing time is, remember, in Krishna Arjuna's relationship, you can find this. There are situation cases where Arjuna gets drifted off, but Krishna has never left them. Krishna has never left them. You know, for Arjuna Garbhabhanga, there is one story where, then Arjuna says, such a small thing, why you, Krishna, I will go. You see, the arrogance. So, only a person with arrogance, with attitude, with ego, he will depart. A egoless, humble, simple person will never depart. So, in all your situations, you just see, if you have come out of the relationship, then you are Arjuna. If the other person has walked out of your life, then you are Krishna. That is what you are supposed to understand. Yes, life will have challenges. Giving up is not a solution. Getting on is life. Anywhere, it can be in the corporate sector or in a relationship or friendship, anywhere, Stay put. Unity is strength. Right? You should find oneness in diversity. That is the speciality. So this is about Krishna Arjuna. And next, what we are supposed to say is Atma Nivedana. Giving ourselves totally to God. Kaya Vakmanasa means at the physical level, at the oratory level, and at the psychological level. In all the three stages, we are supposed to offer ourselves at His lotus feet. The best example of this is when Gurudev entered Samadhi, and Guruji was not aware of. He was in US, and Guruji was informed that Gurudev is serious. Then he took a flight there and he had to land in Bombay. US to Bombay is almost 24 hours flight. No communication in between because mobiles weren't there in those times. So, meanwhile, Gurudev attained Samadhi when Guruji was in midair. So immediately the press reporters, they dashed to the airport for the press meet. And the other trustees decided that Guruji to head the organization, the worldwide sector. And none of this was aware for Guruji. When he landed in Bombay and when he was coming out, it was a press meet. Everybody, all the press, they flock around Guruji and asked, Swamiji, how do you feel now when his shoe? And the spontaneous, humble answer of Guruji, that makes him Guruji. He said, I'm always at his shoe. The moment I think of this, I get goosebumps. My hair rises. 1 second. I keep thinking of this quite often, and every time I think of it, I get the same feeling. I become stunned. Atma Nivedana, total surrender. Do we have that? Do we have that is the question. The other example of this from the mythology is of Mahabali, Bali Chakravarti, who was a very, very flourishing king and the, very prosperous, known for his charities, danas, dharmas, and all those things, all good virtues he had. All good virtues he had. Along with that, he had a mustardness of ego that I am. Not even mustard, maybe much smaller. So that has to be removed. How? Then Vamana Avatara. A dwarf man or a short man, I can't call it dwarf, a short man, Vamana, Vishnu's one of the avatars. He comes down to Bali and asks for 3 footsteps of land. Because Bali was the ruler of the whole universe. Now we say it is in Kerala, but actually the whole universe was his. The whole universe. Imagine, universe. Then, as the story goes, he laughs at this. Eva to a Brahmana, why 3 steps when you come to a king? You should know what you should ask. Ask something else, bigger, that is. He says, no, just 3 steps enough. Then immediately his guru, Shukracharya, he comes to know that it is Narayana in disguise and cautions the king, Bali, to be careful and not to accept this. Vinasha Kale Vipirita Buddhi, as one saying goes, or his proud and arrogance, what 3 steps can't I give? Whatever it is. When the time of realization comes, the play of the God, everything comes in proper place. It's a place. He says, okay, take. Then he says, hey Rajan, not your foot, my dear, my foot. Huh? Oh, you're such a small man, your feet is hardly size 6 or less. Mine is size 11 or 12. He smiles and says, no, 9 foot 3 steps. Yes or no, tell me. I keep walking. If you say yes, okay, I'll stay back. So, whenever you are giving an offering, the oblation will be given through water, and he lifts his kamandala. Shukracharya understands the whole play, and he enters into the kamandala nozzle and blocks it so that water doesn't flow, so that he will not give that promise. Vamana, he's smart. He takes a dharba, that is a dry grass, and pokes into the nozzle, and that is how Sukracharya loses one eye. That story is different. Once he gives the water oblation, once he promises and swears to give three, then this Vamana takes a huge form. It is called as Trivikrama. And the people who are familiar with Tiruvannamalai, you should go 40 kilometers from Tiruvannamalai. There is Trivikrama temple to be very powerful, very powerful. You have to visit that. So he becomes so huge. In one foot he covers the whole earth. With the other foot he covers the whole other heavenly bodies. And says, "Oh Rajan, where shall I keep the third foot?" Then Atma Niveda, he understands. He bows and he says, "Place it on my head." This is Mahabali story. Atma Nivedan is total surrender. And give everything. He has given himself to the Lord. And then you know how the story happens. He will be sent to Patala, and yearly once he comes up and it happens. So this is the ninth type, Atma Niveda. So with this we will conclude today's session. It continues. And thanks for being. Krishnam Vande Jagat Guru.